Jada is doing a press tour for her upcoming memoir titled Worthy right now. That title should tell you everything you need to know already. But she's revealed that not only has she been separated from Will Smith since 2016, she also thought that Slapgate was a skit when it happened, which is shocking, right?
That is weird.
I don't believe her.
You think that she realized it was serious?
I don't believe.
She's lying.
Maybe she thought it was like a
but-
setup because Hollywood does stuff like that a lot.
The fact that they've been separated for 7 years, they've been broken up for 7 years, raises a lot more questions than it answers. Because in a way, she kind of became the fall guy for Slapgate happening in the first place. He's like, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth.
This is why I don't believe it.
But it's
she
not
was
his
making that
wife.
face. She was making that. Well, technically, no, she is still his wife because they're not
divorced.
But the point is, so his reaction is visceral, where he looks very happy he's laughing at the joke, and then he sees her reaction, and then immediately responds because he's been trained by her to respond like a dog. And so I don't believe her that she thinks it was. So she thinks that it just so happened to really annoy her, and then became the perfect skit for her face of annoyance.
Beyond that, the drama about her entanglement with another man, August Alsina, is very confusing because, I don't know, I guess she technically wasn't cheating on Will Smith. He theoretically okayed her having a relationship.
Yeah.
But they weren't together. They weren't living together. But had been living separately for a couple of years at that point.
But they had said in 2013 that they just, when asked about an open marriage, they said, we do whatever we want, which could be implied the same way anyways. I find this more annoying because when you look at it like on the macro scale, they're supposed to be like this good, other than her, like how she seems to constantly emasculate him. They're large proponents of the idea that non-traditional marriage is great and it works out easy, right? But that's
meanwhile, you haven't been together
for
this
7
entire
years.
time.
So there's likely some guy or some girl out there who's like, look, if Will and Jada can do it, we can do it. But Will and Jada couldn't do it. They couldn't make it work. That's kind of a shitty thing to kind of promote when you yourself can't even make it work.
She seems to be, she's being coy about it, but she seems to suggest that they're thinking about reconciling eventually. Here is her quote. She said, "We're still figuring it out." She says they've been separated for 6 years before the Oscars in 2022. Quote, "We've been doing some really heavy-duty work together. We just got a deep love for each other, and we're going to figure out what that looks like."
Let me guess. They're going to therapy.
Yeah,
they're
doing inner work, except everything is Will Smith's fault.
Celebrities are literally always in therapy all the time.
That should be protocol, honestly.
Yeah.
Hollywood's messed up.
They're always in therapy, and they're always talking about how great therapy is, but nobody ever seems to be getting any better. Seems like a racket.
Interesting?
It seems like a racket to me, but what do I know?
Here's what she says about Slapgate. "I thought this is a skit. Like many people watching the incident unfold, she didn't believe it was real at first. I was like, there's no way that Will hit him. It wasn't until Will started to walk back to his chair that I even realized it wasn't a skit." Her first words uttered to Will once they were alone after the show were, "Are you okay?" That just sounds like a
and he's like, wow.
Loaded question.
No, he was
loaded.
shocked by the question because she hasn't shown any genuine emotion since
he's like,
Obama was in office.
Also, Chris Rock allegedly came up to her after the slap happened and was like, "Hey, I didn't mean any harm by it. Like, I didn't mean any harm by my
for
joke."
Getting slapped?
He apologized to her for
about
saying the joke about her alopecia.
You know what I hope really comes out of this more than anything? I can't wait to hear Pearl's take on all this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I will not. Oh my gosh, I had to mute that girl.
Did you see
I don't even follow her, but
she dyed her hair blonde.
Did she?
She's like in the midst.
Oh.
I saw. Yeah, she's got all these new thumbnails. And
Stay
glowing up.
ginger. Stay ginger. She looks better with her natural hair. And she says a lot of things preluded their breakup. She also says she hasn't been able to bring herself to divorce Will, saying she's been committed to working through anything with him.
That's a fairly interesting point because look, it's true. Like, I don't know if they have like some ironclad prenup, but it's not like they're not both wealthy and just divide. It would be like if Jay-Z and Beyonce wanted to get divorced. There's just too much money
they're in
and too much
partnership,
assets.
a partnership which is mostly business.
Yeah. Like the only thing that would really change it would be is if one of them actually fell in love and wanted to get married to someone else.
Which they don't.
In
seem
which
like
case, the
type of-
divorce
Will
would
is
be
so mentally
hilarious.
broken
Yeah.
that he's just not capable of
Right.
that.
Right.
He's just sad.
He's still her lapdog.
And I'm kind of never going to forgive her because he was the height of cool in the 90s.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Like, every time I see her, I want him
When
to...
did they get married? Wasn't it like 1998 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
And then he just went down the uncool, cringe.
I mean, it
rabbit
happens to
hole
everyone
after
as
that.
they age, I guess, right? Like,
Not everyone can be cool forever.
Denzel Washington is still cool, but he's cool in like I'm an older and more like mature person kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Will Smith because he transitioned. It's like he transitioned to roles that worked for him as he got older. Like he was actually really good as Deadshot in the suit. In a bad movie, he was one of the best things about.
I think
a
Will
bad
Smith's
movie.
downfall started with like beginning that YouTube channel, like
Yes,
trying to be
yes.
a YouTuber and
Hello,
be
fellow
relatable. Yeah, being in YouTube Rewind, saying that's hot.
Because he did I Am Legend and like I, Robot in the last 10 or 15
Hancock.
years, and yeah, and like he's been in movies that were relatively successful, but his cool factor has died as of lately. I feel like
People really liked Bad Boys.
Bad Boys 4,
Yeah.
which is Bad Boys 3 technically.
Okay, it was technically
Which is
3.
funny because now the fourth one is called For Life. They should have just saved,
Yeah.
Or no, 3 was called Bad Boys for Life.
Oh,
and they
right,
should have
right,
saved
right.
that for the
Oh, yeah,
fourth
yeah, that
one,
would've-
which
yeah.
would have
which
made
made
way more sense.
But they didn't know if it was going to do
Yeah.
well enough to justify it.
That movie got very lucky because it ended up coming out like right before COVID. So like it would have struggled severely if it had come out after.
And
that.
they asked Jada if she was offended by Chris Rock's joke about her shaved head, and she said, "I mean, that's what comedians do. I would just have to say that I'm not really here to make any judgment on how people decide to express themselves and express their art.
I don't believe
I'll say
her.
that several times. I've had my feelings hurt for sure. I've had my feelings hurt a lot by Chris, but at the end of the day, too, being in the spotlight, it comes with the territory."
Like that is a beautiful response that I don't believe for a second she actually had after it happened.
yeah. How
Like-
can you believe like anything that they say really when they had didn't they have a whole show or at least a huge viral roundtable discussion about how much the entanglement hurt Will and hurt his feelings because she had an affair? But if they were separated, is it really an
It's
affair?
all very confusing.
Yeah, is it still an affair?
Yeah, like are they
I mean,
gonna
if you're
address
still
So it's all
married,
fake.
if
It's
you're
all
still
fake.
married,
Yeah.
you should not be in other relationships while you're
Yeah.
still married.
I absolutely agree with that, but
Yeah.
like clearly, like from
But
their
if it was
perspective, they're trying to
understood
rewrite-
between them,
Yeah.
that
I
they're
forgot
gonna
he
live
was also
separately.
he was also the genie in Aladdin.
Yes, he was.
Which was like actually didn't go as bad as people thought it was going to go because how do you replace Robin Williams?
He didn't
Yeah.
act poorly.
Like he's been fine, right?
Also,
And
Chris
he won
Rock.
his first, and he won his first Oscar last year for King Richard. The Celine. or
No
the-
one cared that he, committed Slapgate. They just kind of put that behind them and let him win anyway.
And he made Bright, which was clumsily made.
Chris Rock allegedly tried to get with Jada in the middle of one of their separation on and off stages.
Before or after?
Oh.
Before or after?
Yeah.
Here's
the-
what she says. I think every summer, all the reports would come out that me and Will were getting a divorce. And this particular summer, she won't clarify which one, Chris Rock thought that we were getting a divorce. So he called me and basically was like, I'd love to take you out. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, aren't you and Will getting a divorce? I was like, no, Chris, those are just rumors. He was appalled and he profusely apologized. And that was that.
So he felt dissed, and he's like, now I got to make fun of her hair.
Yeah, I think that might be it. He was the burned incel.
He's just. Look, I feel
It was personal.
I feel bad for the public more than I feel bad for any of them because it just proves
What?
that it's all fake.
I'm sorry, what man would be attracted to Jada Pinkett Smith knowing who she is?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially
And it's-
after the entanglement.
Men that
like
your
men
boy's
that are into
girl.
being
Yeah.
like maybe guys who like having dominatrix.
Oh, masochists.
Yeah.
Like my ego's too big right now. Let me go.
It's like I need to be
take
talked
Jada
down
on a date.
to really bad. So CEOs,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
CEOs love that shit.
Also, Leslie Jones recently revealed that Chris Rock had to go to counseling after Slapgate.
Oh God.
She said that shit was humiliating. It really affected him. People need to understand his daughters. His parents saw that. He had to go to counseling with his daughters, who are 21 and 19 years old. that kind of makes them sound like they're in second grade.
Yeah.
It's also funny because he handled it about as good as you could handle that situation. He didn't handle it poorly. He made a joke about how he's like, dude, it was a joke, bro.
Yeah.
And like he didn't come out of that situation looking worse.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he was supposed to do. Like, I don't understand where. I mean, I guess like who am I to tell him he's not supposed to go into therapy? But at the same time, I'm like.
Because from what I take from it, he took the therapy because he felt emasculated, but he handled that situation in a very masculine way. And
I think
like,
both
didn't
of
get
them were
upset.
emasculated by that.
It would be, yeah, like, so what he's saying is that maybe if he had done the toxic masculine response, which would be to, like, just drop him,
Yeah.
then he wouldn't have needed to go to therapy because he wouldn't have felt emasculated.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know.
Like, why do we need Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis? Why can't we have Will Smith versus Chris Rock?
Yeah, how
That
the
would be
times
better.
have changed.
And it would be funny,
Celebrity
too,
death
because it would end up being for Will Smith because he's probably in better shape. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chris Rock is like half his size.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fair fight.
Yeah.
for sure.
No.
Yeah, it would.
Had to put
Also, we had the poll today asking you guys who's the worst member of the Smith family. Jada, it looks like Jada's winning.
very handily.
But just to be contrarian, I voted Will because he needs to take charge of his own family. You know?
Yeah.
He's being
I
a
vote
pathetic
Jaden
lapdog.
just because Jaden's annoying. And
How are mirrors real if our eyes aren't real?
Jaden?
That comment Jaden made, it makes a lot more sense when you see that Jada had her whole family take ayahuasca trips
Oh my goodness.
for like psychic healing.
Wow.
I did
That's
not know
like-
about that.
Where
Yeah.
were these
I didn't hear
moms
about
when
that. That's
I
like
was a
child
kid?
Yeah, Jada also revealed in the same interview that she was struggling with suicidal ideation for a long time.
Ayahuasca works for that.
And that she took ayahuasca and her suicidal ideation ceased, but that her whole family
Yeah, her kids
has taken ayahuasca.
Was
I
that
don't know
their
if they did
first
it
drug? Like-
together.
psychedelic.
The kids, she made sure we knew they're adults when they did this, not
Okay.
when they were minors. But
There's
Yeah.
other,
Though,
like,
that's intense.
Yeah, way less intense things you can do. Where you're
It
not,
makes
like,
more
puking
sense
and
why
your
Jaden-
brains out.
Jaden has this like split consciousness, asking like, "Are our eyes real?"
Yeah.
It's like full on philosopher now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his neural pathways
he
are
kind of struggles
janked up.
because it makes him look like a tryhard, and it's kind of embarrassing.
Didn't he want to have like his like male genitalia removed at one point?
What?
Wasn't that a thing?
I'm not googling that.
I don't think he did, but he said he wanted
I just know
to.
that he started like wearing skirts and painting his nails like a lot of male celebrities do.
Okay.
But I don't know if it went as far as like transitioning.
He was questioning it, I believe. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Well, I
really-
mean, when you have a male role model like Will Smith in your family, like, how do you make sense of being a man?
You know what they do?
Yeah.
They send him to therapy and they have him watch all of the old Will Smith movies to reinforce him
exposure
being cool.
therapy.
It's just
Reinforce that toxic
It's
masculinity.
a 20-minute clip of just him hitting the alien in Independence Day where he goes, "Welcome to Earth," over and over again. And they
my
just
God.
keep playing that clip until you realize that your dad's actually pretty cool. And then they're like, "Did you know that there's a whole channel in Philadelphia dedicated to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Your dad did that. He wasn't always being, torn to shreds by your emasculating mom."
Jeez.
Bad stuff. The whole, but that's why I would never want to be a celebrity, right? I would never want to have to let my family life play out in front of.
Stink bug?
No.
We're under attack.
I would never want to have my family life play out in front of like the whole world. It would be horrible.
No, there's a way to protect your family from it too, and they just lean into it and put it on blast.
Jada is the embodiment of toxic femininity.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
thankfully, Red Table Talk is no longer a thing.
Will should start his own one called Black Table Talk or Blue Table Talk or just not Red Table
Some
Talk.
other color.
I wonder, is this the kind of thing where Will Smith was already kind of like this, or did Jada kind of infiltrate, and was she just one of those women that they warn men about, who's kind of like witchy and toxic and plays all these mind games to the
Well,
point where he's just like,
The way she describes them getting together is she was single. Will Smith got out of a relationship and then called her saying, like, "Who are you dating right now?" And she said she's single. And he said, "Okay, you're dating me now." So that makes him sound like the
Toxic.
alpha in the
Right.
relationship.
And what it is
Who
it
sets the
offended that
terms.
offended her, and she played the long game.
Then
She's
she-
like, I'm about to
yeah.
destroy this guy's whole life.
Well, in this interview, she laughs to the interviewer and says, "Can you believe I fell for that?"
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
Doesn't seem like she likes
There's
him
also
very
the thing
much.
where like when they had like their like they did like an interview in 2019 where they talk about it, it's like, we don't celebrate our anniversary. That's because you're barely married anymore.
No.
But like recently he posted a thing, like it was like last year on their anniversary or whatever, or her birthday. No, it was on their anniversary. It's like he posted some sweet message to her, and like 2 days later she posted a thing about dancing with Tupac, like just emasculating.
Another part
Yeah.
of this that's super confusing is that viral video that Will Smith posted where Jada was recording him in their house.
Yeah.
And he said, like, don't record me in my own home, like,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
But they apparently were living apart by that point anyway. So how does that video even come into existence? Like,
It's because it's all fake.
I
The
don't
whole world's fake.
understand.
It's all a stage,
She really
man.
did just want
coming
Tupac.
apart.
She had to. She feels like she settled for Will Smith.
Yeah, she got with him when he was like
Probably.
the alpha, and then once his time passed, she was like, should have gotten with Tupac.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.